In this video, we'll be looking at simplifying algebraic fractions using addition and subtraction. If we took a normal fraction and we had to add these two fractions together, we could do something like this. Our common denominator will be 20. 5 goes into 20 4 times, so it'll be 4 times 2. Add how many times does 4 go into 20? 1 goes in 5 times 3. And therefore this will be 8 plus 15 all over 20, and that would give us 23 over 20 as our answer. So what would we do if we actually had an algebraic fraction? And all I've done is taken this fraction and I've converted it into a little bit of an algebraic fraction because I have some pronumerals. Well, the procedure is pretty much the same. I need to find the lowest common denominator and I need to multiply my fractions out. So it looks something like this. My lowest common denominator is still 20. 5 goes into 20 4 times, so it'll be 4 multiplied by 2x, plus 4 goes into 20 5 times, so it'll be 5 times 3x. Therefore 4 by 2 is 8x, plus 5 by 3 is 15x, all over 20. And my answer therefore is going to be 23x all over 20. So with that in mind, we can come up with some rules. The first one is we need to determine the lowest common denominator. Next, we need to express each fraction using the lowest common denominator. The third step then is to add and subtract the numerators. And the fourth step is to remember that the denominator stays the same. Alright, well let's look at an algebraic fraction, and we're going to subtract over here, and we can see that our denominators in fact are numerals. So we can do something like this. Our lowest common denominator of 4 and 5 is going to be 20. 4 goes into 20 5 times, multiplied by x. Subtract 5 goes into 20 4 times, multiplied by 2x. This can be simplified down to 5x, subtract 8x, all over 20. And our answer therefore is going to be negative 3x all over 20. So using the same ideas, let's have a look at doing B and C. Put the video on pause and come back when you're ready. Alright, well how did you go? Let's look at B. Well, I can see that 3 and 6, my lowest common denominator here, is actually going to be 6. 3 goes into 6 twice, so it's 2 multiplied by 7x, plus 1 multiplied by x. I then end up with 2 multiplied by 7 is 14x, plus x all over 6. Therefore I have 15x all over 6, and that would be my answer. Well, what about C? Well, I know that I'm going to create a common denominator there, and that's going to be 10. So I'll have it something like this. 2 goes into 10 5 times, multiplied by x plus 3, plus 5 goes into 10 twice, x minus 2. I'm now going to multiply my brackets out. So that'll give me 5x plus 15 plus 2x minus 4 all over 10. I can now collect some like terms and those over there, and that will give me the following. 5 plus 2 gives me 7x, and 15 take away 4 gives me 11 all over 10, and that would be my answer. Alright, well now let's look at algebraic terms in the denominator, so these guys over here. Now just a quick reminder that x can actually be obviously written as x, and 2x can be written as 2 multiplied by x. So with that in mind, our common denominator is actually going to be 2x. So we say to ourselves, how many times can x go into 2x? Well, it goes in twice. So on the outside we have 2 multiplied by 2. Subtract 2x goes into 2x once, therefore it is 1 times 5. So we can say 2 times 2 is 4 minus 1 times 5 is 5, all over 2x. So 4 take away 5 is negative 1 all over 2x, and that'll be our answer. Alright, well, give this one a go. Look at these denominators and see if you can work out what is going to be the common denominator. Put the video on pause and come back when you're ready. Alright, how did you go? Well, I'm just going to have a look quickly at x. So x can be written as x, but x squared is x multiplied by x to give us x squared. Therefore, I know that my common denominator is actually going to be x squared. So I can just simplify it. I'm just going to write like this, x times x. So with my first denominator here, how many times does x go into x times x? Well, it goes in 1x time only, so only 1. So what is left over? I have got 1x left over, so it's going to be x multiplied by 2 plus, then I have a look at x squared, so x times x goes into x times x, goes in once, so it'll be 1 times 3. Simplify that out, so that becomes 2x plus 3 all over x squared, and that would be my answer. Alright, so finally, how do we simplify mixed algebraic fractions? Here is the question. We've got an pronumeral in both of those places, and we've got normal numbers over there. See if you can work out what your lowest common denominator is going to be. Put the video on pause and come back when you're ready. Alright, how'd you go? Well, I'm just going to multiply x and 4 together to get my lowest common denominator. So that is going to be 4x. How many times does x go into 4x? Well, it goes in x times, therefore it's going to be 4 multiplied by 2. Plus 4 goes into 4x 4 times. I've got x left over, so it's going to be x times x. Alright, so remembering the BIMDAS rules, multiplication first, so 4 times 2 gives me 8, plus x times x is x squared all over 4x, and that'll be my answer. Alright, well, I hope that helped, and that's pretty much all there is to simplifying algebraic fractions in addition and subtraction.